but we're going to go back to the Browns here before we move on. A quick word from FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and much, much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official partner of the NBA. After watching last night, after watching the entire playoffs, after seeing the entire 2023s in totality, I'll ask you guys a simple question. How close are the Browns to the level of the Kansas City Chiefs?
For me, it's funny.
The choices were they're already there. Small gap, huge gap.
I think it's a small gap, right? And I think that small gap is our quarterback, Deshaun Watson. My man G, he's on Operation Stockpile, right? Go get as much talent as you can, build this roster up as much as you can, like throw it out there and see what happens. I love you. I don't think that's going to work. I'm going to tell you why. Because of Pat Mahomes. You can argue that the San Francisco 49ers probably got the best 53-man roster in football. And it didn't,
I think you're right.
And it didn't matter when it came down to it, right? Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy is a pretty damn good quarterback.
He is
and it didn't matter because the opposing team, they had that dude. Jay, coming into this game, San Francisco was 2.5-point favorites, right? I told Mike, if Pat Mahomes was the starting quarterback for the 49ers, they would have been double-digit favorites. If Brock Purdy was the starting quarterback for the Chiefs, they probably wouldn't have not even made the Super Bowl.
No, that's
very
fair.
So when you look at it like that, I know that the Browns already got a talented roster, right? You know what I'm saying? We got more depth across this roster than we had in years past. The difference, the small gap, is Deshaun Watson, because I remember a couple years ago when the Texans played the Chiefs in the playoffs and the Texans was up like 24 points. And the commentators was talking about how for the years going forward, we're about to experience Deshaun Watson versus Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be the matchup. So clearly, before all the BS off the field happened, everybody thought Deshaun Watson was more than capable of being that dude. I personally still think he's more than capable of being that dude. So the small gap is Deshaun Watson, because if Deshaun Watson can be that dude, which I believe he can, then we can talk. Then we can make some noise. So you can stockpile all you want, and you can build this fancy roster all you want, and you can have a quarterback that's mid-tier all you want. With this quality roster, it ain't going to mean a damn thing if your quarterback is not him, because Kansas City, they got him at QB.
That was decent. I like what you did right there.
I thought it was very on point.
I thought it was on point. But you know,
He about to battle rap me.
What you should have seen right here, and this rebuttal is, you've seen what it is. You've seen what Patrick Mahomes is. Now, you can imagine and wish and hope Deshaun Watson is there, but right now he's not better than Patrick Mahomes. Right now, Joe Burrow's not better than Patrick Mahomes. Right now, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson is not better than Patrick Mahomes. The problem with people is they try to do this. They talk themselves into that their quarterback is on that level. They continuously talk themselves as if their quarterback can go hand to hand with Patrick Mahomes, but don't realize that they also got the best head coach and play caller in the league as well. Now you have two things that you got to overcome. The Cleveland Browns come out here with these rusty butter knives every year. These rusty butter knives, and they got Excalibur just slicing and killing demons and dragons. And we come out with a spoon and a fork and say, yeah, know what we got? We got Amari Cooper, and we got Cedric Tillman. We always saying what we got. Right now, quiet as kept, the Browns need to worry about how they going to take care of C.J. Stroud, and he's the underboss. You see, he's the underboss. He made you look crazy. And until you can get to a point where you are on the same echelon as talent, you don't have the same talent as the Ravens, you don't have the same talent offensively as the Bengals, you don't arguably have the same talent as the doggone Chargers. And we know what the top of the food chain is. Operation Stockpile is not about just sitting back hoping Deshaun Watson gets to a point, right? You know what they did in World War II? They knew that the United States had a Navy. They knew the United States and the Allies had more manpower. But guess what they still did? They still built that atomic bomb on the backside. because they said, what if the trenches break? What if Hitler goes and goes out over and he does beat Stalin in the winter? And then what we talking about? You better have you something in your back pocket. And guess what? Even after they got rid of Hitler in World War II, guess what? Pearl Harbor still happened, and guess what they had in their back pocket? Operation Stockpile moves ahead, full steam ahead.
That was cute.
In your analogy, I
cute.
think Patrick Mahomes is the atomic
Yes,
weapon.
he's dead.
Now, both of these, very, very good. I'm enlightened. But let me ask you guys this. So what was your ultimate answer? Are they there? Are they almost there? Is there a big gap?
Oh, it's a big gap between him and everybody.
Right, okay. So the Browns there's a big gap between the Browns and the Chiefs.
Yes.
I say small gap.
So I'm kind of torn. I'm almost in the middle, and here's why.
I'll give you, Jay, I'll give you a third option. You could be a medium gap, just
That's
for the
where I
sake of
am.
this. You could be a medium gap.
How would you
Really
guys
wide.
feel?
Jay
How
wears
would you
extra
guys
medium, so it's only
gap?
fair
just
that Jay's
sounds-
going to be a medium gap.
That's real palsy. It is.
So let me ask you
You're
guys
welcome,
this.
Jay.
If tomorrow we wake up and we see the headline, NFL shocker, Browns trade Mahomes, or Browns trade Watson to Kansas City for Mahomes. Like there's 0% chance that would ever happen. But let's, for this little discussion, pretend that Mahomes is in Cleveland. Same roster, we have Mahomes. What's the gap now?
We're the better team.
We're there.
I still think the Browns lose.
Njoku and Kelsey. Kelsey clearly gets the nod, but the gap is way shrunk. Their running game, Pacheco or Chubb? I give us the, now I'm assuming Chubb is going to be superhuman
giving
in
the
his
nod to
rehab,
Chubb.
and he's going to be Nick Chubb again.
Okay.
I give the advantage to Chubb. Offensive line, when we're healthy, I'll take ours. Thank
Okay.
you. Top receiver. Now, Kelsey's their top receiver. So you've got the gap at tight end is really, really small. Cooper gets the edge for their number one receiver. Defense. I mean, they got Chris Jones. We got Myles Garrett. I'll take Myles Garrett. I think you're right. I think if you switch quarterbacks, we're there. Now, that's the biggest if of all. That's the, if your grandma had wheels, she'd be a wheelchair.
We're forgetting one thing. They got Andy Reid and we got Ken Dorsey.
Now, listen.
But we also got Kevin Stefanski too.
Are y'all running
I was gonna
bootlegs?
get
No,
to
I'm
that.
just saying
Y'all
we still
gonna
got.
run boot-
We
y'all
still
run-
got.
y'all
we-
gonna run bootlegs?
I'm not saying about running the bootlegs, but you can't make it seem like that Kevin Stefanski is not a great offensive mind, right?
He's the
We don't-
last two out of the last 4 years he's been
He's
coach
been coach of the year. We don't know what
there's
Ken
a
Dorsey
gap.
is.
Look, I'm not going to be naive and say there's not a gap.
It's a gap.
Andy Reid is the Belichick of
Offense.
this era.
Yes.
He's a guru. He's taken two teams to Super Bowls, two different teams. That's pretty rare for a coach to do that with two different teams. So he's clearly teaching the master class. But I think Stefanski is one of the star pupils. I think Stefanski can be Andy Reid 15 years from now. Remember, Andy Reid in Philadelphia was looked at as like this. For those of you that don't remember, he's a really good coach but can't get over the playoff hump. Remember those years?
I mean,
And Philly finally said, we're going to wash our hands of this guy.
four NFC championship games, one Super Bowl.
But he couldn't win.
But
He
I'll put
couldn't win.
I'll put it like this, right? If you strip Deshaun Watson from the Cleveland Browns and Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs, the Browns still got a top 5 roster. The Chiefs roster is probably bottom towards like 8 through 10, right? Because they got Chris Jones, but they got George Karlaftis. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong.
Yeah.
You still got Nick Bolton. You got Trent McDuffie. You got Ladarius Sneed.
No, it's a nice defense.
So you still got some ballers. But when I look at the Cleveland Browns roster minus Deshaun Watson, it's still a top 5 roster. And so, like, when you talk Operation Stockpile, I'm not saying I totally disagree with you, but the 49ers, talented roster. Browns, talented roster. Chargers, talented roster, right? All these teams got talented rosters, but none of these teams got Pat Mahomes. And unless you got a quarterback that can bridge that gap between Pat Mahomes and anybody else, your roster could be talented all day long and it won't matter.
Your point that resonates with me the most was and I had someone tell me this before, gosh, I can't remember what Super Bowl it was. It was one of the Super Bowls where the quarterbacks were wildly mismatched. You had one where
Brady, Nick Foles?
It might have been Trent Dilfer. I can't remember what the matchup was.
Well, they had the Brady, Nick Foles when Philadelphia lost Carson Wentz and Foles was in. There was the same discussion. If you switch quarterbacks, it'd be like a 21-point line.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, what decides Super Bowls?
Quarterbacks.
It's quarterbacks. I mean, it's always been quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So if quarterbacks decide Super Bowls, and you do your little exercise of, well, let's just switch quarterbacks and see where we are. Purdy's fine. Purdy is a very, very, very good quarterback. Purdy didn't throw an interception. Mahomes did. But what happened when Mahomes threw the interception in 100 million living rooms across America? What did everybody say? Oh, my God, that's a unicorn. We never see that. Mahomes just made a mistake. What was being said in hundreds of millions of living rooms worldwide when he led the Chiefs to the game-winning touchdown? That's what I expect from him.
That's what I expect.
So here's the level that you have to get to. It's like golf. I'll watch the golf tournament, and I'll see these guys making great shots, and then I'll say, I can make that shot. It's not about your good shots. It's about your bad shots. Every weekend golfer has holed out from 125 yards. But what about the other 99 shots out of 100 that you were 125 out? The pro is within 8 feet every time. Your spray chart, you got 10 in the trap, 15 missed the fairway, only 10 are on the green. It's not about your great shots. It's about minimizing your bad shots. And to me, after watching Patrick Mahomes do it again, do what we expected him to do again when he was put in that opportunity, Deshaun Watson can do it.
Yeah.
We saw it for a half against Baltimore. But since he's been here, we've had 21 other halves of football. So he's the weekend golfer that hit a hole-in-one against Baltimore. But in some of those other ones, he missed the green, he missed the fairway, he was in the trap. When he was on the green, he wasn't within makeable distance. Mahomes is spraying the pin every time.
I think one of the things that we get in too much context with is trying to figure out, is he worth the money that he's getting. So what we want to do is say, well, okay, your franchise quarterbacks make everybody better, so let's just stay right here and you make us better. We'll see if you are worth $230. But the problem is you're gonna have to beat. This is Mortal Kombat. You gotta beat 3 out of 4 to even see Mahomes. Like, we're not talking about going against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Obviously, we're in the same conference. We're just talking about what you need to do in order to just get to the bowl. So you telling me you got to see Josh Allen, and we didn't see Josh Allen play ridiculous. We didn't see Patrick Mahomes play ridiculous. Joe Burrow is out of his mind. Lamar Jackson. I didn't see Aaron Rodgers throw the ball through 10 people's bodies.
Justin Herbert.
And C.J. Stroud just put that work on you. My thing is, if you...
Tua.
And he got 2 receivers.
It's the quarterback gauntlet.
That run like cheetahs and deers. And we sitting here still, 3 years into Deshaun Watson, still trying to champion the guys of this world, the Bells and the Schwartz and the David and Njoku. And you just said that they had Kittle, no factor. Debo Samuel, no factor. Ayuk had a couple catches, and you had Christian McCaffrey. And let me remind you, if 5 years ago you would have said the San Francisco 49ers would have had Chase Young and Bosa, you'd have said, how the heck do somebody even get? We ain't got none of that. And we still trying to get rid of it.
I'm just saying, I don't give a damn about how much money Deshaun Watson made. The hell with the $230. I can care less about the contract at this point. Whatever, it is what it is. I know Deshaun Watson is fully capable of being an elite quarterback.
His great shot is elite.
Right.
But what about his other shots? Because with Mahomes, his bad shots are still workable. He threw an interception.
That's true.
He's so damn good that he made up for it.
Jay, this is my thing. I know it's been a while since we've seen Deshaun Watson as one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Maybe it's Cleveland Browns bias. Maybe it's Deshaun bias because I've been a fan since Clemson. I don't know if it's just me being biased. I believe in my heart the dude still got what it takes to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And so like I said, like for me, I can care less about the contract. Last year, he showed some moments. Was it the best? No. But I know he's fully capable of being better than what we saw last year. And I'm not even saying last year was bad. I'm just saying that's not what I expected from Deshaun Watson. So with that being said,
he
right?
has not lived up to expectations.
So with that being said, I trust that he's gonna hit the ground running, and I trust that he's gonna do his part so that the last time we saw him, 14 for 14 against the Baltimore Ravens, I pray to God that's where he picks up from, and he just keep this thing rolling.
If he does, we have a chance.
Then we right there. We got a chance. And that's why I think it's a small gap. I don't think it's a major gap. I think the talent is here. I trust Andrew Berry to continue to add talent to this team. I think the small gap is Deshaun Watson. And if Deshaun Watson improve his play, we right there with Kansas City.
It's consistency. It's not the highest quality. It's the high bar he can reach.
Yeah.
But you consistently need to be up there.
I'm going to take it from him. He said this. I didn't say it. He said when he asked for it. He was on this podcast. He said, "What's up, T. Higgins?"
Yeah.
That means as a man. Last year when we talked about going out and get DeAndre Hopkins, he wasn't definitive like that. He said if DeAndre come, I like what we got in our roster. They said it at a golf outing. I downloaded it. I said, okay, well, he may not be that interested in DeAndre Hopkins, but it's early now. And he said, T. Higgins, come on.
See, that's out of everyone's
Yeah, I was just
control.
about to say that's a different conversation.
Franchise him,
No, but I get that you might not get T. Higgins. What he's saying to you is, I'm technically not that comfortable with the roster. And we may not got T. Higgins, but I need another playmaker. Give me something else. Give me someone. It ain't got to be T, but I need a little something else to get where I'm going.
You think Andrew Berry go get it for him?
He better.
No, I'm saying I know he better, but do you think he'll go get it for him?
My hopes is Andrew Berry does what he did with defensive linemen. He understood that that's what the place he needed to go.
He did a good job
and
up
he did
front.
a good job of doing that.
I'm gonna give you a definitive yes. Andrew Berry ain't shown me yet that he sees a hole or error or something that can improve on his team, and he's failed to address it, or at least attempt to address it.
Well, he has failed to address the wide receiver.
He might have. I don't think he's failed to address it. He just didn't hit on it. Like he's tried.
That's failing to address it.
That's
when you go Bell and Schwartz in back-to-back third rounds. There was another third-round bust in there. Who was it?
Well, Cedric Tillman he's here, but he can get a year.
Well, I'm not ready to call him a bust yet.
Yeah.
But the early reports are not good.
He just got to get that position right. He definitely need to do better at getting that position right.
Yeah.
I just know that if he knows, because I think we all agree, we need another weapon at wide receiver.
Oh.
And I think whether it be draft or free agency, I think he'll find a way to get another weapon in here.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say definitively yes, I trust him. But to your point, the two glaring weaknesses after 2 years ago was the D-line and the wide receiver spot.
Mm-hmm.
Took care of the D-line.
He took care of the D-line. Now, he went Operation Stockpile.
Yeah,
he didn't say, let me sprinkle a little bit of magic fairy dust on the D-line
a lot of them.
and a little bit on the wide receiver, because sometimes when you serve two masters, you serve none. So what he did is said, I got a 2-year plan. Check on the defensive line.
Got it.
Everybody's looking at you now on WR. You better get that right, and you don't have draft capital to do it.
It's kind of crazy.
So you've got to do it through free agency, and that's limited. The top guys at the top of the food chain are likely going to be franchise tagged. And so now you're looking at a situation of you've already dropped down a tier. And if you look at it with DL, they didn't go out and sign, they didn't make a trade for Chase Young.
No.
Right.
They could have.
Right.
They didn't. They went sort of middling, but they went stockpile. Let me bring 5 dudes in here and see what we get.
And they did a good job of doing that.
At wide receiver, I don't think that's going to work, because you can only put 3 of them on the field at once, unless you're, running some crazy offense at the end of the game. So you need the middling guys. They do nothing for me. I need somebody that moves my needle at wide receiver. If he gets that right, and that's a big if, and if Deshaun Watson can make his round of golf look like the hole he played against Baltimore,
then you're there.
Now we're there.
And that's all. And that's all I'm saying.
But those
I think
those
you
are
can
two
get there.
big ifs.
They are.
But
they are.
If both of those hit, the United commercial that aired during the Super Bowl last night. Hey, how many times does pop culture predict the future? How many times? It wouldn't stun you if next January everybody's saying, "Remember this United commercial from last year?"
Yep.
He was right.
Pretty cool.
That would be fun.
I want a Midwest Super Bowl so bad.
I do too.
I want the Browns versus
Detroit and
Lions
Cleveland.
so bad.
Man, that would be great.
That would be a
I
lot
would
of
take
fun.
Detroit and Chicago too. Or Cleveland and Chicago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Either way would be a lot of fun.